the only dick pic I send. Congratulations, people. Welcome to my world. Alright, so this morning I woke up and I got to hear some people shout at each other. I didn't really pay much attention to who it was because it didn't last very long. Anyway, one of the ladies at Safety, she doesn't. Anyway, with the beat of me, I don't know, something like that. I'll have to look at it. Might be 100 feet. Debatable, I guess. I'm about 5. I went in to get my breakfast burrito this morning, and no, not to my knowledge, they're over by your vehicle messing with it. And she come and told me, she said, "Yeah, I saw him over there messing with your vehicle." Anyway, I'm making sure that it's documented. That's what this. Anyway, I'm making sure that it's documented. That's what this video's about. Um, Obviously, in order to call the cops, I have to have a trusted adult, someone that I can call when something happens that'll take it seriously at that moment and help me turn it in and understand that if I get talked over, someone has to know enough to not let them speak over me. And the lady this morning, I kind of hope there's no confrontation. The people before I had I needed to turn him in from the very start. Now, it was explained to me that he was not popular in school. He was picked on and picked to him. Some of my bullies apologized to me. Did you know that? When I went to Lodgepole High School, I walked 9 miles to school every day. And I jogged 9 miles back from school every day. And I had a bully in Lodgepole schools named Dylan Bauer. Now, after school, he apologized to me for it. When we were both grown-ups, he said he was sorry for picking on me and he shouldn't have done it. That does mean something. Dylan Bauer, later on, when I had a phone full of evidence I needed to find, he offered to help me find it. He had to run an errand because he had some kids with him, but he was going to help me on the way back. I've had to live through a lot of horrible stuff because when you're different, people think it's okay to be like that. Dylan Bauer, when he became an adult, dropped that stuff off like a bad habit and decided he wanted to be a decent person. Now, some people hold on to stuff. There's stuff that you can hold on to. You've got valid reason. There's stuff that you shouldn't hold on to. And then there's stuff that you're stuck with. And it's important to know the difference. A lot of times people will tell you to let something go. When you're being abused by a parent, I'll give you this example. When you're being abused by a parent, you need to have a friend or family member when you turn it in.
Incoming call. Incoming call. Incoming call. Incoming call. Incoming call. Power off.
We'll make that easier. Anyway, the lady that spoke with me today and her coworker, Both of them are aware of the situation. Both of them are aware of the situation with Natalie. Both of them are well aware of the situation with Wolnez. Both of them know who he is. And one of them has really tried hard to keep the peace, despite the fact that she believes at some point a person should be allowed to defend themselves. She believes that at some point a person who is being abused should be allowed to fight back. She believes if somebody is not able to defend themselves, and most people believe that way. Now, when you're treated like you're a bad, horrible, violent person, because, yeah, when some person go to, in most cases, because they're trying to get help stopping that abuse. And yeah, sometimes whooping somebody's ass does work. Matter of fact, most of the time it does, but on the times that it doesn't, it really doesn't. With Dylan Bauer, he left behind those child who did something called repenting. See, I hear a lot of religious folks talk about repenting. You don't do it because you're pressured. You don't do it because you're pressured to do so, or bullied to do. That's what you need to do. You should know well enough that when you've done somebody wrong, you should probably try to make amends. Involved by apologizing for it. He thought he might be able to do to assist me. But then we have people who have so much hate and anger stored up that they just want somebody to unleash it on. I would like to believe that I would be more diplomatic. I'd like to believe that I would not just believe whatever I hear and go around hurting people and playing victim. But let me tell you something. When it comes to having to put myself in conditions that I live in are fucking abhorrent. Over and over and over again. And that they were victims because I spoke out on YouTube from the Bible on my channel. Wanted to pretend direct quotes from the Jesus himself. He said they'll die. When he said they will die, that doesn't mean he... A lot of people have been quoting to me what the Bible says. I'm aware of. I wasn't hit. He wasn't in my vehicle screaming at me or trying to poke me in the eyeballs. Which he's got a history of doing. Jennifer and David wanted to beat him up. Instead, they asked him nicely to leave me alone, and they did it diplomatically, like I asked them to. And not the only ones, you know. Nick, he came up to me the other day, wanted a cigarette. Yeah, I don't mind giving you a cigarette if I got one. He was telling me that wolnez was trying to get people down there to commit violent acts against me, and everybody just got sick of it. So I've had people tell me that he was pulling that over at the Pioneer Museum and also over at the bus station. So this comes down to what? Why I haven't gone to the cops about it yet, right? Well, like I said, you know, some people, they'll call the cops as soon as they see somebody. Dude's got as much of a right to live as I do, doesn't he? Going to Safeway is something he's not allowed to do anymore. To my knowledge, and him too. Just because of the stuff that was being yelled, there was a possibility. But it just, from that distance, I can't say for certain it was him. And this morning, whatever woke me up, maybe it was him fucking with my vehicle. Maybe it was just the wind blowing. Maybe it was a little bit of rain start falling. Who knows? It could have been any number of things. I was half dozed when it happened. When I heard the yelling, it was somewhere around there. When she saw him and that yelling that I heard, I was like, man, it's too early in the morning for this. But it didn't sound like, super loud. But she said he yelled back that he wasn't fucking with me. He wasn't messing with me. He was leaving me alone. Or something like that. I don't know. I was talking to her before I'd had my coffee this morning. Speaking of. With the cops here, they're not any more honest than anywhere else. Also, the cops here, just like in Boulder, Colorado, Chapel, Nebraska, Adams County, Colorado, fucking hurt being for a lot of time. Cares about the homeless. The news paints all homeless people as guilty until proven innocent, and we're not allowed to prove our innocence. We're not allowed to face our accusers. Our predators just cry, mentally ill, mentally ill, mentally ill, and magically our voices are snuffed out almost as quickly as our likeness. A lot of y'all, when you get home and you find out your wife's been beating on the kids, 2 of them are locked in the closet, neighbors called the cops. You're pissed off at your wife or your kids are going to foster care. You got to figure out how to keep a roof over your head and keep your job. And now you got to come up with a bunch of money to jump through a bunch of bullshit for the courts because somebody else did something wrong. You spend that money on a lawyer or you don't spend that money on a lawyer. If you don't spend that money on a lawyer, you get run over by the courts, by the system. They want you to jump through a bunch of hoops because somebody else harmed your children. They want you to go to court date after court date. They want you to go to classes. They want you to miss work. And a lot of it. They want your boss to hold you on standby just in case you have to go pass a UA so that really likes you. You're going to lose all your stuff and you're going to end up homeless. All this shit's expensive, and then you're going to need to hire a lawyer. You're a dude. Don't be dumb. You have to hire a lawyer. Cost in time and money for travel. Hard. Both of you go to work every day. Both of you are find out that he's... Sorry about the connection issues. Cops come and they actually arrest your husband. But now you got another problem. Now you're not going to be able to pay the mortgage. Your boss isn't going to let you take all that time off. So your kids didn't get taken away, but you're not going to be able to move either. You don't have the money for that. You don't have it saved up. It's because as soon as he got arrested, you still had to pay bills, but now you had to take your entire nest egg to pay those bills. 3 months from now, when you can't pay those bills, still, Well, state comes in and takes your kids because you've been kicked out of your place, you've been evicted, and either you got a lawyer that'll help you to fight it, which you obviously don't have the money for, or you would have paid rent. Now your kids are in the system, and you're out on the streets. Now, for the man in his scenario and the woman in this scenario, it's the same thing. Now you're unfit because you're homeless. You're unfit because you're jobless. For most of the homeless people that I knew that ended up homeless, they were victimized into it, and they had a job when they were made homeless. And they went to work religiously, hoping if they worked hard enough, they were going to get unhomeless. But then they got their first camping ticket. Over $400. And then they want you to do 60 hours of community service because they want to charge you with trespassing on public property. Gotta love it, right? And we're going to do the same things that all mammals do. We have to wish no ill will towards that wolnez feller. He was yelling at my vehicle. I was told by one person that there was somebody yelling at my fucking... I slept right through it, whatever it was. And the lady... grocery bag... But I do know, and their inappropriate actions previously, that it's unsafe for me to go them alone. That doesn't mean that I don't intend on turning it in. I absolutely intend on turning it in, as I always do. You don't take advantage of at-risk adults or children. Both of those are fucked up. But then you got to know what it is that makes a person at risk. Since the person that I saw probably was wolnez, but I can't verify it, that lady would have to verify it. She'd have to write it down. And I'd need a copy with her signature on it, and probably a way to contact her. As far as the things that I can absolutely verify that he did, because I was there for them, and many of them are recorded on my YouTube channel. That's the stuff that I can turn in. Also, the stuff that she would need to turn in, I can turn in with her. That way I can verify anything that, well, let's say she went in by herself, and then later on she wanted to tell me about it. I can verify that she told me about it, but I can't verify the validity of what she's saying. Now, if I go in with her, she doesn't have to dictate what happened to me because she was there. I'm truthful about it. Oh, you didn't try going to the police. You guys look at how many times I tried. And you get to see how restraining orders against actual violence. We took a look at the putting the victim at risk in this situation. I am being victimized, and there's overwhelming evidence of it. Shows that they've put me at risk. The tricks that were used to prevent me from being able to go to court, prevent me from being allowed to go to court, prevent me from being allowed to show evidence, prevent me from being allowed to face my accusers. A lot of women who had to get protection orders looked at that and went, where is the justice? Where is the law? Everything that the law did was illegal. And why did they feel so, liberal about committing felonies against a homeless disabled man? How is looking the other way to things that you would definitely not want happening to you? How is looking the other way to that when it happens to somebody else? How is that helping any of us? A child or an elderly person in a nursing home or attention deficit. Oh, squirrel! When we're taken advantage of, old people, disabled people, homeless people, children, it's because we're the least likely to be heard. Men especially. Men have it especially rough because we know not to come forward when we're abused. We're supposed to take care of it ourselves. And we'll get treated like we're horrible monsters or ginormous pansy ass, candy ass, sissy lalas if we try to get help stopping abuse. That's the reality of it. People know that you're broke when you're homeless. If you're stuck in a nursing home, yeah, pretty self-assured that you're broke or you don't have access to your own money anymore. There are plenty of millionaires in nursing homes. They don't have access to their money. A lot of times, nursing homes will over-medicate people who are elderly, people who have their faculties. That means their sensibilities. Means they're still aware of what's going on. And those folks waste away. They're so fucked up on pharmaceuticals that they just talk all sorts of gibberish. And then they get called senile. And then all their money can be controlled. And even though those older people are all fucked up on drugs, they still say it's legal to have these elderly people sign pieces of paper giving mass quantities of money to people who have no business touching it. It's illegal to do that, by the way. It's illegal to drug somebody and then have them sign papers. Even if hospitals do it at the request of police. Hospitals need to have somebody assess the person brought in by the police. And not based on what the police have to say, but based on the person who was brought in. It is not okay to allow the police to antagonize the patient. That's never okay. And when the patient is telling you that they've been abused, you do need to take that seriously. When somebody is telling you that there is evidence in the backpack right outside of the room that you've locked them in, and you've only locked them in that room because police told you something that was untrue. Well, they told me something untrue too. They told me a lot of things that were untrue. What did they do in Boulder, Colorado? Officer Waylon Lolitai. They told me they were taking me somewhere safe to make a report. Instead, they took me to the hospital to try to have me put away on suicide watch. They outright lied and claimed that I was asking the police to shoot me. The desperate shit that I've had to do because nobody would shut the fuck up and listen. I had to deal with everybody that promised to help me, instead of helping me, they were, this will fix it, that'll fix it, this person's supposed to fix it, that's supposed to fix it. No, you have to make the calls with me. When you can only manage one call every 6 fucking years, it results in somebody being abused for 6 fucking years. Now, what's the analogy that I give? The one that you all need to learn. You walk by your neighbor's apartment and you see your neighbor molesting a child. However, if you don't try, and every time they do it after that, how many times was that child molested before you caught the son of a bitch? And when you don't turn that in, how many times does he, for the neighbor to see? But if you don't turn it in, and they still got away with it, they'll be more careful about closing the doors to go. You know how much that sucks? Hey, Alexander.
Got these cardboard?
Nothing big here and let you use it. It'll open up. Let me get it. That lady told me wolnez was by my vehicle at like 4 o'clock in the morning, and then one of the Safeway employees was telling me that she had to yell at him for being at my vehicle at like 6:40 this morning. Yeah. Of course, I can't verify that myself because, you see my window. I can't verify what it was. I can verify because I heard people screaming this morning, so I can verify that. The lady that worked needed a sharp